Alright, this is going to be a video on how to change your 2015 to 2021 Subaru WRX alternator. My alternator went bad and it was making this weird sound. I will also show you guys how to test to see if the alternator is the issue by this quick trick that I learned with the battery. But you're going to want to make sure that your cables are removed from the battery so you don't shock yourself or fry the battery. Then you're going to want to loosen up your tensioner down here, and after your belt's taken off and everything, you're going to want to hit these slabs on this cable port up here and then this one as well. And there's a tab back there, right where my finger's at pointing, that you will remove. And then there's going to be two bolts down here in the bottom that you're going to want to loosen up. Okay, so let's get to working on that. I'll show you that test real quick. All right, so a good way to test to see if your alternator is the issue, after you made sure that your battery wasn't the issue, what you're going to want to do is loosen up your positive. You're going to remove it, and if it dies just like that, then that means your alternator is a problem. If it stays on, then it's another issue, which for this case, it wasn't the issue. So I knew by doing this test, the alternator was the problem. So that goes for pretty much any vehicle, unless there's some other ones that I don't know about. But that's how I figured out to make sure that the alternator was the main issue after I got a new battery. All right, so I loosened up the cables to the battery. Now I'm gonna start working over here. All right, so I'm starting off by loosening the tensioner. It's going to require a 14mm socket. Just push down clockwise and it should come loose. Just remove that right there. All right, so after you pull back this tab, you can also use a screwdriver to push it in. Make sure not to break it. You're going to pop it open, and then there's a bolt right here that requires a 12mm socket. This one back here, I went and pulled this tab right here and I started wiggling it off, and now it's off. You're also probably going to have this one right here as well. It's going to your brake vacuum pump, but mine was already broken, so it was already loose. And then what I also did was I removed this tab right here by pushing down and then pulling up, so then I could have a little bit more wiggle room by removing or moving these wires to the side. I also had another one back here, so I just so I could have more room, I removed all those. So as I was removing this one right here, I noticed corrosion right here, so it's always good to just clean them. Use sandpaper, wire brush, clean this up so then it doesn't cause any issues in the future. To remove the cable that's going to this brake vacuum pump, you're going to want to press on this right here, press it down, and then as it's pressed down, you're going to lightly pull the other end of it and just wiggle it off, so then you don't try to break it. All right, so I removed the bolts that were both attached to the alternator, and it's also going to require a 12mm socket. All right, so I got the old alternator removed. I got the new alternator installed. It was a little tricky wiggling this out from this section right here, and same with putting it back in. But as soon as I got it out and in, it was a snug fit. Make sure all the cables are attached together. Put the bolts back in down here. Screwed it down. Don't know if it requires a complete torque. Couldn't really find anything, but there was one thing that I saw that it requires 18.5 pounds of torque. And then I got the, after I did that, I got the serpentine belt back on, which is called the V belt according to Subaru, and got it all lined up. Make sure if you lose track of this, look up a diagram for it. Then after all that was secured and locked down tight, then I went back and put my cables back on. And now I'm going to start her up. Turned her back on. All my lights are cleared. I had noticed I had gotten a battery light when it all went down, but now it is completely gone. And right here, she is rolling, sounding just fine. It's back to normal the way she used to roll. Hope this helped you guys out on installing the alternator and figuring out the problem. Thanks, guys.